Hello, 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 and welcome to the Zone. A very, very special episode of the Zone because today we are going to talk all about playing and playfulness. And I wouldn't want to have this discussion with anybody else than Tracy Clark, an executive coach who helps founders and their teams explore and unlock their full potential. And part of her strategy is to teach them to become more playful. And so it is my absolute delight to welcome Tracy Clark into the zone. Tracy, welcome back.
Oh, thank you for having me, Claudio. It's just always such a pleasure to be with you.
Always such a pleasure. This is your third time here in the zone, right?
Indeed.
Yeah, the first time we were talking about the zone of genius, and getting into the zone of genius. The second time we were talking about expanding the zone of genius. And today we are taking it yet a step further and we are going to talk about play. Being playful, let's play. And before we start, let's very, very briefly say hello to our audience here online. We have Saeed from Germany. Saeed, always great seeing you. Hope you're doing well and staying warm. And we have Yash from India. Yash, great pleasure seeing you here as well. Tatiana, a very, very playful person as well. I'm looking forward to your comments here. And our dear friend Nadia is here joining us from Ann Arbor, Michigan. Andreas from the Philippines. It's late in the Philippines already. Thank you so much for joining us, Andreas, always great to see your name. And Jole from Germany is joining us as well. What a real pleasure. What a great group of people.
Absolutely.
I can't wait to see how they are engaging throughout the program as well. Because again, this is all about being playful and playfulness. And what better place to start than going a little bit into the past. Tracy, when you were a girl, what were your favorite activities? What were your favorite playful activities?
Well, Claudio, one really springs to mind. So we used to live abroad, and so we were all often outside. And my favorite one was jumping the elastic. So you'd have two people either side with elastic starting around their feet, and then you would need to jump over the elastic and do different types of jumps. And then it would go from their ankles up to their knees and then to their hips, then to their waist. And it was really the game of how high could you jump and what different ways could you use to jump. So that's probably my all-time favorite.
Wow, this is so interesting because I haven't even thought of this game anymore, but this is something we play in Switzerland as well. You mentioned you were abroad. Where were you? Where did you play this?
We were in Venezuela, so my father was
Wow.
posted. So we spent a
Okay.
lot of time round in a sports club, around a pool, and the image that's coming to me is jumping the elastic on this beautiful grass with lots of tropical flowers around me. So it was very,
Interesting.
very memorable.
Very good. Very good. And this is, of course, also an activity that engages your body as well, right? It's not just play in your mind, but play in your body. And I'm sure we are going to come back to that as well and how much that makes a difference as well. Now, playfulness. I love to play and I love to play trivia just to get things going with our audience as well. So, how about we play the first round of trivia right now?
Perfect.
Are you ready? I
Good.
assume our audience is ready as well. So, here we go with trivia time. The first question is, which famous toy was originally a wallpaper cleaner? Which famous toy was originally a wallpaper cleaner? Was it A, Silly Putty, B, Crayola, C, modeling clay, or D, Play-Doh? So if you're watching us live, just put into the chat A, B, C, or D. Again, the choices are A, Silly Putty, B, Crayola, C, modeling clay, and D, Play-Doh.
That's the most brilliant question, Claudio. I love it.
I was accused of making these trivia questions too easy, right?
Oh, I
So
don't think that one's easy.
this one's definitely not that easy, and I can tell because the answers are coming in slowly here. So that means people are either thinking a lot, or they may be Googling, or perhaps we already lost them into some other playful activity rather than watching the zone. So we have B, we have C, modeling clay, okay? We have Nadia is saying A, Tatiana A. Jolle in Germany, it's Gummi Twist, okay. And Andreas professes that he has no idea. Tracy, do you know the answer, or do you want to take a guess here on this one?
I'll guess, since no one has guessed D, I'll guess D.
D. Okay, and your guess is actually correct. It is Play-Doh. It
You
was
know, the funny
original.
thing,
Yeah.
when I saw Crayola, it reminded me of when my son was little, and he used to, bless him, have this habit of painting on the walls. So I wish I'd had this cleaner then.
But it's fascinating in a way, right? That we go from a wallpaper cleaner to a children's toy that is now known worldwide, right? And I think this is one of the things that playfulness enables, and that is creativity. So let me ask you, Tracy, what is your definition of playfulness?
My definition is that it is a state of mind that is characterized, has three main threads: intense curiosity, radical open mindedness, and proactive experimentation.
Hmm?
And what I find, Claudio, is that often when I talk about playfulness, people think of it as an activity. So that's why I like to make the distinction that it's a state of mind, it's a mindset that you then infuse into every task or activity that you carry out.
So it's a mindset, a mindset. How do we get to such a mindset?
So this is the way I stumbled across it. So the founders that I work with work in very high pressure environments, and they're often super stressed. They're juggling decisions and responsibilities and growth, and their default is stress. Now, in the short term, that can be good. But ultimately, what I found is that that stifles creativity and really holds them back. So I would see people come on, and I could see this tension in their whole body. And I just found that I was using two words which I then saw change their state and mine, and it just opened up their thinking. And those two words were let's play. So it was really curious because I just kept noticing, wow, I'm using these words a lot. And after let's play, I just say to them, let's play with possibility. Doesn't matter if the answer's not right. Let's just explore. So I found that that's a good sort of segue into getting potentially serious high pressure founders into more of that playful state of mind.
Wow. Wow. I love it how you distilled it to those two words. Let's play. Now, Saeed is making a comment here online that says, if you say, let's play a game in a workshop, you'll probably lose 67% of participants. It's all about the language you use.
It is. And that's really interesting that you say that, let's play a game. So is that, I'd be interested to know from Saeed, is that the distinction that people then associate a game as being maybe frivolous and unprofessional? And maybe that's where I'm trying to get that nuance to go. I'm not going to tell you just to play a game. I'm telling you to move into a state of mind that makes you more curious. And I find that what happens is people's reactions are often their shoulders drop, their eyes start to sparkle, and then they get this little grin, their little smile on their face. So, Saeed, I find the opposite with the state of mind. So I'd be fascinated to hear your thoughts on that.
Indeed. And we are a little bit limited here, of course, with the comments, right? So, Saeed, we are a very flexible group of people here. Do you want to quickly join us here on the screen? Because I would love to take that conversation a little bit further as well. If you are ready and can join us, let me quickly put the link into the comments here, and let's see
Well,
if you can.
as you're doing that, Claudio, I think it's my association with what Saeed's just said is sometimes this whole playfulness can be seen by many as being unprofessional. So that might explain why they push back and it's unprofessional, it's going to hit my gravitas. But actually, what I find is when we infuse it as a state of mind, it actually enhances your gravitas and it really drives results. And actually, it makes you a leader that people want to follow.
Indeed, 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 indeed. And Saeed may not want to join us, which is totally understandable because, you know, I'm just throwing him into the deep end of the pool here. And this just shows you the unrehearsed nature here of the zone. So if you can't make it, Saeed, it's all good. If you can, you have the link. Join us whenever you want or can. So, yeah, to me, it's perhaps the distinction, again, as you said before as well, of those two additional words, a game, right? As soon as we are processing the words game, it all of a sudden becomes perhaps less professional or whatever. But if you say, let's play with the possibilities,
Exactly.
it's quite different. Quite different.
And I think it's play with the possibilities. And then when you introduce the words proactive experimentation, I think that's something that leaders, founders can resonate with. Because in business, especially for a founder, they're having to try different approaches to see what works. And actually, isn't it often through proactive experimentation that you maybe find solutions that you didn't know existed? Like that Play-Doh, Claudio, that wasn't, started as a wallpaper cleaner.
Indeed, indeed, absolutely, yes. So I'm sure you have received some resistance here and there, right? Because again, not everybody wants to be playful. In fact, we were taught, business is a serious kind of thing. And playfulness, well, does it really, really have a place? Now, when you're dealing with somebody who comes from that side, how do you warm them up to the possibilities that playfulness does indeed have a lot of value when it comes to creativity, to innovation, and so on?
Good question. So what I find is when I'm in a session one-on-one, I don't talk about the playfulness per se. So what I find is it's very organic. I'm building the relationship, I'm building the trust, I'm building connection. And then when I notice maybe a rigidity or a stuckness, that's when I just say, I would imagine with a big smile on my face, let's play. And it's a very gentle invitation. And so up till now, I've not had resistance from an interaction with a client or a prospect. What I have noticed, Claudio, though, is if people, if someone asks me, like I'm in the process of writing a book, and the title's going to be, well, the working title, Let's Play, the 2 words that will forever change the way you lead. Now, sometimes when I'm saying that to people in a colder environment, they're like, that's a bit odd. So I then get that resistance. So out of context, yes, people do resist it. But then when I explain that there are 3 threads, then that gets them, and that it's a state of mind, then that draws them in.
I
So I don't know
love
whether
it.
that explains it.
Yeah,
Explains the
I
difference.
absolutely love it. And Chris commented here that he likes to say, let's do a mind experiment, and has apparently really, really good results, gets good results with this as well. People immediately perk up.
Yeah.
Thanks,
And I
Chris.
think
And
the word, I think the word experiment is quite exciting, isn't it? Because there we're automatically showing that there's possibility.
yep, yep. Nadia made a really, really interesting point here of the study of genius that at NASA, that concluded that we are born creative geniuses, all of us, and that creativity drops as we age. And one of her explanations is that schools are just not valuing creativity as much as perhaps other things. She's following up with 5-year-olds. They have, or 98% of 5-year-olds are creative geniuses. This drops down to 30% at 10 years, 15 years, it drops down to 13%. And less than 2% of adults were creative geniuses. Now, everybody still has creativity, right? And so it depends on, what is exactly a creative genius. But what is your take on this?
I would agree on the creativity, and thank you, Nadia, for sharing that. It's absolutely fascinating. I'd add another perspective, which is that I think when we're younger, we are creative, aren't we? We're playful. We move into different states. I'm an astronaut. I'm a football player. I'm going to go to Mars. And but then as we go to school, we're told, be serious. Don't stare out of the window, and don't just gaze. Don't just daydream. And we're told that logic is important, and the logic is prioritized, which then in turn pushes the creativity to one side, which is what Nadia is saying. So I think
Mhm.
that's one thing. And then I think as we grow up, we also, when we're young, we don't care what people think. But as we grow older, we have a little bit of a fear of judgment. Oh, what are people going to think? Gosh, am I going to look stupid? And that's when we put on what I call the metaphorical straitjacket. And that limits us, it holds us back. And I believe that stifles our creativity and our playfulness.
Wow. Absolutely, absolutely deep insight here. I love it. I absolutely love it. Very quickly, hello, Adam from San Diego. It's been such a long time since I've seen your name here, Adam. Always great, great, great to have you. Saeed, he mentioned that he tried to join us, but unfortunately, some technical issues no problem at all. So before we move on with another really, really great great comment from Nadia, let's play first another round of trivia because, again, it's all about play. So the next question here is gonna be, what year was Monopoly first introduced? Was it A, 1929, B, 1931, 1935, C, or D, 1938? So we all know it's an old game. It's considered by some the best-selling game ever, but it's difficult to measure those kind of things against, long old games like chess, for example, who sold more. But let's say over the last 100 years or so, it's been an absolute bestseller and known all over the world. So which one is it? A, 1929, B, 31, C, 35, or D, 38? Let's look at the comments. Yash is guessing A, 1929, B, 1931 is from Tatiana. Andreas guesses the same thing. Saeed is going with 1935. And nobody else is coming in. So do you know, or do you want to guess, Tracy?
I think I know it's what Saeed said. It's C. It's 1935.
C, 1935. Nadia is joining that club as well. And indeed, 1935 is the year that Monopoly was first introduced. Now, again, Monopoly is a very, very popular game all over the world. In fact, I grew up playing the Swiss version, right? So there are so many different versions of Monopoly out there. And that gets me to the next trivia question. Let's just add this one because it's still about Monopoly. What is the Guinness World Record for the largest collection of different Monopoly games? Again, there is an edition in the US, there is an edition in Germany, in Switzerland. I believe Monopoly is in so many different countries. So what is your guess? Who has, or for the person that has the largest collection of different Monopoly games? Is it A? And again, this Yole already is coming in with a B here. I'm not sure whether that relates to the last question or to this one here. What are the streets called in your countries? Like, I know the most expensive one on the Swiss board is the Bahnhofstraße in Zurich, right? And that is truly one of the most expensive places to rent. So, Guinness Book of World Records. Somebody collected a lot of different games. Is it 1,574? B, 2,559? Or C, could it be possible that somebody collected 3,794 different editions of Monopoly? Or even 4,379? So, which one do you think it is? Our audience out there in the comments, put it in A,
all of them are huge, aren't they? Any of them would be.
It's huge, right? When I was researching this question, I thought, well, it's maybe something like 200 or 300, right? And then I saw a 4-figure number and I was like, what? How is this even possible, right? So right now we have 2 answers, 3 answers, and they're all going all out. They're all going all out. 4,379 currently in the lead. We have Chris with C, and all of these, great guesses. What's yours, Tracy?
I'm going to guess D, since it's the one that most people have gone with.
All out
I think
as well. All right. All right. Let's have a look. Oops. Sorry. That's not what I wanted to push. Here we go. It's 4,379. Now, I wonder if this person who collected so many Monopoly games, whether they played every single issue, a full game to the end, because it can be a couple hours for each of the Monopoly games. Have you played Monopoly as a child,
I
Tracy?
have as a child. I have to admit, I haven't played it for a long time. So
Okay. All
we were
right.
playing
All right. All
Articulate
right.
over Christmas. That
Yeah.
was fun.
Yeah. And, Yola is just mentioning that there's quite a lag here today. So that's why some of the answers are coming in a little slower. So let's get back to creativity. I was mentioning Nadia made a really, really good comment here before, and that is about Sir Ken Robinson's TED Talk about creativity. Tracy, have you watched that TED
I
Talk?
have. I watched it a while back, so I can't honestly 100% remember it, but I did, sort of about 6 months
Okay.
ago.
So he's the title, and maybe we can just take the title of that talk. The title was "Do Schools Kill
That's right.
Creativity?"
Yeah.
What's your take on that? Do they or don't they?
I think they definitely push you more to the logic. They definitely here, there's the view that the science, the maths, the English, they're all the prestigious studies to be good at. So I think more weight is given to these other subjects and less gravitas and weight is given to the others. And I think it's such a shame. But hopefully we'll learn. Hopefully the next generation will learn from the fact that we've gone too far the other way. And hopefully, if business starts to really lean into it, maybe they can be a role model also to show that it's something important as you develop and as you grow older, something that's going to stand you in good stead. Not only Claudio, from a business point of view, but also let's think about it from a mental health, from a well-being point of view. The more you play, the lighter you feel, happier you are. So you would hope that with time, schools will really start to clock that it's important.
Interesting. Absolutely. And, I have a personal story in my life where it happened in kindergarten, and it really impacted my life for the next 20 years. And it was a day where my dad picked me up in kindergarten, and I overheard him in a conversation with the kindergarten teacher. And she was talking about my abilities, and she said, look, he really is not good with art. He cannot paint. Yeah, I tell you. And then she did the most critical thing. She said, he's never going to be an artist, but he is very, very intelligent. He will be, successful and this and this and this. But it was that critical sentence. He will never be an artist. That to me, and the reaction of my dad was like all joy and hooray, hooray. Okay, I have to bring up a starving artist and have somebody live in my home all the time. I'm gonna have a businessman or somebody successful that can do whatever, right? But it was that identity that
Yeah.
was put onto me based on a behavior, right? So there is quite a jump between the behavior that I display and the identity. And luckily, many, many, many years later, I realized this, and that I can change that belief that I'm not an artist. And of course, my creativity developed totally differently. But isn't it shameful that sometimes in our upbringing, we have these key moments that define us, and especially when it comes to playfulness, creativity, art, and so on. What are your thoughts to that?
Oh, I 100%. And it's not just that it's not just about the behavior, it's about their specific perspective on that as well. So it's not like everyone would look at that behavior and say that you're not good. And I think that's what makes it so sad. I had, Claudia, a very similar but different situation when I was about 6 or 7. And I was doing an entrance, we were in Venezuela. I was doing an entrance exam to come back to the UK. And I was little and I was told to write a story. And I don't know what I did that day, but the story I wrote apparently wasn't very good. And I remember the teacher saying to me, "Gosh, you're not very good at writing." And that has stuck with me to such an extent that it's a belief I've really had to overcome to allow myself to even write on LinkedIn and to really now lean into saying, I'd love to write this book, but I have got this gremlin in the back of my head that does come up. And I think that was once said by one person. And so this is what I'm doing. I'm going to embrace the writing even more and really lean. But I get it. It really can impact, and it's not good.
And we are, in some sense, very, very fortunate that we were able to realize what happened and change those beliefs. And this is really my one of my missions in life, is to help people discover limiting beliefs that were installed in some way or another earlier in their lives, and help them with also tools to overcome those limiting beliefs. Because again, they're just beliefs, and you can believe whatever you want, and you've changed your beliefs so many times. There was a time where you may have believed in Santa Claus, and
Yes.
you changed that very, very easily. And you can change the belief that you are not XYZ identity as easily as well.
I
Nadia has a
completely agree. Sorry, I completely agree, Claudio, and that's why the second thread of the playfulness, in my view, is the radical open-mindedness, because I
yes.
want people to really know that we have certain, or we've allowed ourselves to believe certain things, but actually, if we just stand back and be really open-minded, we can really flip the script. And as we flip the script, we embrace a different story and we're open minded. It often changes the identity that we hold and the state and the energy that we step into.
Indeed, indeed. Let me bring up a question from Nadia again. Nadia asks, how do you balance being taken seriously while using play to strengthen teams? What a great, great, great question. I am very curious to hear your response here. And let me put it up here again, just so we have it on the screen.
Yeah, I think, I do a lot. I've started to learn to use Lego as serious Lego play. And I've got it upstairs. I've got this little Lego piece that I created, and there's a lot of science behind it. And I get people to be very open minded and say, let's just explore and let's experiment. And I'm going to invite you, before you label something, to look to your experience. And when you start to create, to build a thought through Lego, it's absolutely unbelievable the insights and the creativity that really comes through. So that would be my answer to the question. I think it's look to your experience. This has worked. I invite you to experiment, be open-minded, and then afterwards you can come back to me and you can give me your opinion. But at least go in and be open-minded.
Wonderful, wonderful. And that may just require a little bit suspending of beliefs. We talked about this in our prep call here, right? Um, what 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 do you want to talk about? What do you want to say when it comes to beliefs? Suspend them, disbeliefs, suspend
I
them.
think it's
How can you
both.
do it?
Yeah, I think it resonated so much when you said it, Claudia. I particularly like the suspending disbelief. And I really think of that in terms of a lot of people will come to me and we'll talk about, what's the driver of success? What's going to help you really move the needle on your business? And the traditional view is, well, let's take lots of action, let's develop the strategy. That's important. Of course, that's important. Then a lot of people will say, well, it's the mindset that we need. And what I found was that it's taken me to be very open-minded in this journey to really discover what the drivers of success are. And to go and find that it's the identity or the state of mind, it's the state, the self-concept that we hold. So that's where I'll invite someone to suspend the disbelief that action isn't the most important element. And again, experiment, be open-minded, and try to explore and experiment with creating and embodying, so feeling in every cell of your body, the self-concept of yourself that is aligned with the vision that you want to create. So I invite suspending disbelief again through experimentation and through living their experience, seeing what their experience is.
Wonderful. Nadia is bringing up a comment here about Legos, and Legos are such a fabulous tool.
Yeah.
And of course, it's very funny that, we love to play with them, but stepping on them in the dark at night, and who hasn't, right? And it really hurts. It really, really hurts. Yeah, Yashin's confirming this as well. And Tatiana has a question. What are your top 2 tips to infuse play into daily life?
So I think it's different for different people. For me, this is what I found. For me, as you know, Claudia, I have 2 lovely dogs. And so I have spent a lot of time looking at my dogs and really seeing how they play together. And what I do is I get down onto my hands and knees and I play with them. And the sheer level of joy that I feel is incredible. And then it fuels it. So we all end up getting more and more boisterous and excitable. So it's looking to maybe something like or an animal that can show you and that you can learn from. Maybe if you've got children, look at your children and ask yourself, what can they teach me about how to play? So that would be another one. The second one that I love is very simple. It's putting music on and dancing. I love to dance. And I'll put the music on and I'll put it up loud and I'll dance around the room. For me, those are 2 ways that I can step into playfulness very, very easily.
Nice.
And
Now,
actually, if I just add one more, you can also, I love cooking as well. And one way I introduce play there is I rarely follow a recipe. And that's when I love experimenting. I love trying different ingredients, testing different things. And so for me, it's looking at taking an activity that you maybe do every day and seeing how you can make it more fun. How can you experiment? How can you try different ways of doing it?
I love it. And so many people I know that I consider creative people enjoy cooking. There must be a link somewhere there, right?
And then there's something even more joyous. Not only have you cooked it and you've created it, but then you have people over and you watch the joy that they have in eating it. And so often there's a link, which I love too.
Indeed. So what are you working on right now, Tracy? What's next? What do you want to tell our audience here in terms of...
Yeah, I've just produced, Claudio. I've just produced, which I've been really enjoyed doing, and I've been quite playful around. I've produced a leadership success scorecard. And I found that there is, through all my sort of research and work with founders, I found that there are 6 indicators of success: clarity, conviction, commitment, playfulness, trust, and courage. And so I've put together this scorecard that allows founders and leaders to go on and really find out what their level, what their score is in the indicators of success. And then I decided to be playful and to produce this report that then each person gets, that gives them hints and tips so that they can elevate each and every one of those indicators of success, not only at the action level, but at the feelings, at the mindset, and as I mentioned earlier, at that all important self-concept. So that's something I've been developing, and I'm loving rolling it out. So yes, my invitation is there. Have a go. It's free. It takes 3 to 4 minutes to complete, and it's fun. And I think you'll enjoy it. Thank you,
And
Nadia.
I can see Nadia took the test already or the quiz already. Eye-opening. Take it. So I take your word on this. Oops. And come on. And here is the website again. It's tracyclark.scoreapp.com.
And I also have it on my LinkedIn, just in my initial section. So
Excellent. Excellent.
that.
Excellent. Wonderful. So if you are not yet connected with Tracy, definitely make sure that you do connect with Tracy on LinkedIn. Tracy is it's really a treasure trove of tips, advice, and strategies that help you to become more effective as a leader and communicate and translate that to your team. The last comment I'm pulling up here, Tatiana, she also loves music, dancing, cooking, little kids, and pets. And of course, also art, journaling, and games. And if you are not connected with Tatiana, her last name is Rodriguez, Tatiana Rodriguez. Connect with her on LinkedIn because she just posted one of her art journal or a couple pages, and it's absolutely fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. So thank you, Tatiana. And with that, I wish you all a wonderful, wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. Thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you, Tracy, as always. What a wonderful conversation. You have shared so many bits and pieces that I know will help those who watch this with their creativity. And with that,
Thank you, and thank you to everyone for participating.
absolutely. A great audience. I always love it when people are engaged in the comments like they were today. So thanks, everyone. See you again next time. Have fun. Bye.